Hi, my name is Katrina Hoffman, and today I'm going to be talking about faults in the Indigenous education system. So this is going to tie into some of the things that we did talk about in class and a little bit more outside. So the first thing that I would really like to touch on with the Indigenous education system is the real lack of funding from the government. And so this really ties into what we talked about with Shannon's dream and everything that she kind of talked about and advocated for. And I went on their website and I took like a little excerpt out that I think is extremely important. So it talks about how so many First Nations schools, they receive less funding per student than provincial territory schools, and $0 for things like libraries, computers, languages, or extracurricular activities. So I was really fortunate for school that I went to where I had absolutely all of this paid for me. I didn't even have to worry about it, and none of my funding had to come from home. There are so many other schools out there that just aren't like that, and this ties into the high dropout rate for so many who don't graduate. This also ties in for discrimination for government giving payment to certain communities and not others, which is definitely a fault of our government. And they also talk about how they don't have a safe or like appropriate learning environment. So this poses like health concerns. So this included, they talked about stuff like carbon dioxide levels, as well as like mice running around, so infestations with rodents, sewage, inadequate heating. Like they might not even have like a proper place to go to the washroom where there's running water. They might have like a porta potty outside, maybe, which that doesn't even correlate with laws really. Like if you have to be in a school or even a workplace for that matter, there has to be running water so people can use the washroom and even wash their hands. So all of this just ties into how there's a real lack of funding, how that shouldn't be okay. And then how I talked about earlier is a little bit of like the discrimination that happens. So I watched a news report and it was about a lady who was turned away from the doctor's office because they believed that nothing was wrong with her, that she was sick due to drinking too much beer and just not taking care of herself, because that is the stereotypical thing of Indigenous people, is that they're drinking a lot. And the doctor actually wrote her a prescription that said that had beer written and then a line through it. She got in contact with the hospital. Everything was resolved. I'm pretty sure that she was. They did go to court over it, and she won because it's discriminatory. And things like that just really lead into the education system, because there are so many outside factors that come into play when talking about the education system, and seeing how it's not even just the government and education system that's discriminating, but as well in doctors' offices or applying for jobs or everything within that realm. The next thing that I would really like to talk about is the dropout rates, and this will tie into the discrimination. So I found a couple statistics. So 61% of First Nation adults, so that's like 20 to 24, have not yet completed high school. And that's compared to 13% of non-Aboriginal. So 61% compared to 13 is a huge gap. And honestly, like there's no reason that it should be like that if everybody was treated equally. Only 4% of First Nations people on reserve and 8% of total have a university degree. So in my household, it was never talked about that I wasn't going to go to university. It was always just kind of, it was always there. It's always an option if I wanted to take it. And I didn't realize for so many that that's not there. That either the funds aren't there, the education system just isn't there, and the support to get them through it is also not there. So I found that really heartbreaking, because of the high dropout rate, so many people are not getting the education they need. They're not finishing high school, they're not getting a diploma. It makes it harder to find better jobs. So something else that I like to discuss is, how do we fix this? So I think the biggest thing that we can do is get better funding, because there's so many things that I'm sure are being funded that aren't nearly as important. Like there's absolutely millions of dollars in school systems, and such a lack of that money being put into Indigenous schools on the reserves. Another that could help is teachers being more well-versed in Indigenous cultures and have more views on how to integrate culture into the classroom. I also thought that I watched a TED Talk talking about how French and English learners have the option to learn either French or English, but Indigenous cultures don't have that. And to be frank, like the Indigenous languages that people have, they've been in Canada longer than French and English. So it honestly should be, Indigenous languages should be part of the official language systems of Canada. And having that language integrated into our school systems would probably connect better with people's culture. They'd have their language, they'd be learning better. Maybe they would do better in school. So there's so many options to open doors for people, to cut the discrimination, to help get funding back to the schools, and also decrease dropout rates. So thank you for watching.